These words, they're not just a philosophy I taught. They are the essence of my life, my understanding of existence itself. You see, water fascinated me since I was a young boy in Hong Kong. I would spend hours watching it flow through the busy harbor, moving effortlessly around obstacles, never fighting, yet never yielding. Water taught me my greatest lessons long before I became a martial artist. Have you ever truly observed water? It can flow gently enough to nurture a small flower, yet powerful enough to carve through solid rock. It has no ego, no fixed form, yet it's the most potent force in nature. This is not merely poetic thinking, my friend. This is the fundamental truth that transformed my entire approach to combat, to life itself. I remember the exact moment this revelation struck me. I was frustrated, trying to perfect my techniques, when I struck the surface of water in anger. But instead of resistance, the water simply accepted my force, transformed it, and continued flowing. That's when I understood. True power lies not in rigid strength, but in perfect adaptability. Let me take you back to the streets of Hong Kong, where my journey with water truly began. Not in a grand dojo, but in the back alleys where I spent countless hours as a young boy. While others saw only puddles and rain, I witnessed something extraordinary, the greatest teacher nature could offer. Picture this: a heavy monsoon rain hitting the streets, everyone running for shelter. But there I stood, soaked to the bone, watching something that would change my life forever. The rainwater, finding its way through every crack, every crevice, unstoppable in its journey. No obstacle could contain it. No barrier could break it. That's when it hit me. True power isn't about being hard or soft. It's about being formless. My friends thought I was strange, spending hours watching water drip from rooftops, flow through gutters, crash against the harbor walls. But I saw what they couldn't. The perfect warrior in action. Water could slip through the smallest crack. Yet with patience, it could carve through mountains. It never needed to boast about its strength. Yet nothing in nature could match its power. One day, frustrated with my rigid martial arts training, I punched the surface of a pool in anger. The water simply parted, absorbed my force, and returned to stillness, teaching me more in that single moment than years of traditional training. While my instructors taught me to meet force with force, water showed me a different way. Why clash when you can flow? Why resist when you can adapt? This revelation shook me to my core. I realized that all my training, all the countless hours of repeating fixed patterns, were actually limiting me. Water doesn't practice being water. It simply is. Pure, effortless, perfect in its formlessness. You've heard me say, be water, my friend. But these aren't just words meant to sound profound. This is the fundamental truth that exists at the core of all existence. When I say be water, I'm not speaking in metaphors. I'm revealing the very essence of power itself. Think about this. When you pour water into a cup, it becomes the cup. Put it into a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Place it in a bottle, it becomes the bottle. But while water can take any shape, it never loses its essential nature. This is true power. Not the ability to dominate, but the ability to adapt without losing yourself. Most people live their entire lives trapped in one form, like ice. Rigid, brittle, easily shattered. They build walls, create boundaries, and cling to fixed patterns. But ice is just water that's forgotten its true nature. When you truly understand this, you realize that strength isn't about hardness. It's about absolute fluidity. In my years of training and teaching, I've seen countless talented fighters fail because they couldn't adapt. They had perfect techniques, powerful strikes, but they were like sculptured statues, beautiful to look at, but easily broken. Water taught me that true mastery isn't about perfecting techniques. It's about perfect adaptability. Let me share something I've never revealed before. The real power of water lies not in its ability to change, but in its perfect balance of yin and yang. Water can be gentle enough to nurture a delicate flower, yet powerful enough to destroy entire cities. It can seep through the smallest crack, yet create enough pressure to break steel. It can evaporate into nothingness, yet return with the force of a tsunami. This isn't just about combat or martial arts. This is about life itself. When you face obstacles, do you try to smash through them like a rock? Or do you flow around them like water? When life pushes you, do you resist and break, or do you adapt and redirect? The moment you truly understand this, you'll realize that there's no obstacle that can't be overcome, no challenge that can't be met, no goal that can't be achieved. Remember this: water doesn't try to overcome obstacles. It simply finds the path of least resistance. It doesn't fight against gravity. It uses it. It doesn't try to be powerful. It simply is. This is the deepest truth of my philosophy. Ultimate power comes not from learning how to be strong, but from unlearning the habits that make you weak. But let me tell you how I discovered this truth in combat. Because theory without application is just empty words. In my early days of developing Jeet Kune Do, I faced a challenge that seemed impossible. My opponents were bigger, stronger, and had years more experience. The water showed me the way. I noticed something fascinating during my training sessions. The students who relied on pure strength would tire quickly, their movements becoming rigid and predictable. But I remembered how water never tires, never strains, never wastes energy. It simply flows to where it needs to go, using the exact amount of force needed, no more, no less. One particular fight changed everything. My opponent was a master of traditional kung fu, much larger than me. As he launched his attack, instead of meeting his force head-on, I simply wasn't there. Like water, I flowed around his strength, filled the empty spaces, and struck where he was vulnerable. That fight lasted less than 10 seconds. Not because I was stronger, but because I had become formless. This is what most fighters never understand. They train to become something. A boxer, a kickboxer, a grappler. But water isn't trying to be anything. It already is everything it needs to be. This revelation transformed my entire approach to martial arts. I stopped training to add more techniques and started training to remove limitations. Think about this. When water flows downhill, does it worry about the correct technique? Does it hesitate before choosing a path? It simply moves with perfect efficiency, perfect economy of motion. This is what I mean when I say hack away at the unessential. Remove everything that isn't pure, natural movement. I'll share with you my secret training method. Instead of practicing thousands of kicks, I would spend hours just moving, feeling how water would flow through my body. No predetermined forms, no fixed patterns, just pure, spontaneous movement. Because in real combat, just like in life, no moment ever repeats exactly the same way. But here's what most people never understood about my teaching. It was never just about fighting. The water philosophy revealed something far more profound about life itself. Let me share a personal story that changed everything. In Hollywood, I faced rejection after rejection. Studio executives told me an Asian man couldn't be a leading star. The industry was like a brick wall, solid, unmovable, rigid in its ways. Most would have given up, tried to break through with force, or simply accepted defeat. But I remembered the water. You see, water doesn't demand to enter through the front door. It finds its own path, creates its own opportunities. When they wouldn't cast me in their shows, I created my own roles. When they said audiences weren't ready, I proved them wrong by connecting with people on a deeper level. Like water, I didn't fight the system. I transformed it. This is what I want you to understand. Life will put obstacles in your path. People will tell you what you can't do. Society will try to force you into its mold. But remember, water can never be contained by others' expectations. A cup can only hold so much water before it overflows. A dam can only hold back so much before it breaks. I've seen too many people break themselves against life's challenges. They approach their problems like a hammer hitting a nail, using the same solution for every situation. But water teaches us that each challenge requires a unique response. Sometimes you need to flow gently. Sometimes you need to crash through with unstoppable force. And sometimes, this is crucial, you need to become still and gather your strength. When my son, Brandon, was young, I would tell him, notice how water always finds a way to move forward. It never argues with obstacles. It accepts them, understands them, and then finds a way past them. This isn't just philosophy. This is practical wisdom for navigating life's greatest challenges. Today, my water philosophy is more relevant than ever. In a world of rigid opinions, inflexible systems, and constant resistance, the way of water shows us a better path. Look around you. Technology changes daily. Careers transform overnight. And those who cannot adapt are left behind. But here's the beautiful truth. This philosophy transcends all cultural boundaries. Why? Because water flows the same way in Hong Kong as it does in Hollywood, in Tokyo as it does in Toronto. The ancient Chinese understood it. Native Americans honored it. And modern science confirms it. Water's principles are universal. You're living in a time of unprecedented change. Social media algorithms shift like currents. Global markets flow like tides. And success belongs to those who can adapt like water. When I say be water, I'm giving you the key to thriving in this ever-changing world. Think about how water navigates the digital age. It doesn't fight the current. It becomes the current. It doesn't resist change. It embraces it. In your own life, are you being rigid like ice or flowing like water? Are you trying to control everything? Or are you learning to adapt and flow? Remember this. Water doesn't worry about its next move. It simply responds to what is. It doesn't fear change because change is its nature. This isn't just ancient wisdom. It's the most modern success strategy you could ever learn. My friend, as we come to the end of our time together, I want you to do something right now. Stop whatever you're doing. Feel the water that flows through your own body. Your blood like rivers carrying life itself. Your thoughts like waves constantly in motion. You are already water. You've just forgotten. Remember, the cup is useful only because of its emptiness. Your true power lies not in what you can hold on to, but in what you can let go. Like water, learn to yield to overcome, soften to conquer, empty your mind to fill your potential. Tomorrow, when you face challenges, ask yourself, what would water do? When barriers appear, flow around them. When life pushes you, adapt and redirect. When opportunity appears, crash through with unstoppable force. But most importantly, never become stagnant. Keep flowing, keep moving, keep growing. I leave you with this final truth, one that took me a lifetime to understand. The highest form of mastery isn't about controlling the world around you. It's about mastering yourself. And like water, your potential is limitless. You can be as gentle as morning dew or as powerful as a tidal wave. The choice is yours. Empty your mind. Be formless. Be shapeless. Be water, my friend.